Okay everyone, I'm back with part 3 of my Xbox 360 video game collection. We're going to move on to Left 4 Dead. Now Left 4 Dead is a zombie game that I really couldn't get into. It's just pretty much along the lines of Dead Rising, but as a first-person shooter, but I just couldn't get into this one, and I really didn't like Left 4 Dead 2 either. Next up is Lego Batman 2 DC Superheroes. Now this was, I believe, the first Lego game that actually had voiceover work in it, and this game is probably my favorite Lego game. It has all the DC superheroes you ever want in it, and just a good story to go with it, and some of the original voices of the characters too. Next up we have Lost Odyssey, which was one of the first RPGs released on the 360, and also one of my favorite RPGs on the system. It had a great story, great battle system where it used like a ring type system, and it spanned 4 discs long, so it's a pretty long game. I suggest you guys check it out if you haven't heard of it. Then next up we have a game by one of my favorite video game publishers, Grasshopper Manufacturer. Lollipop Chainsaw was a really good action-adventure game. I just beat it about 2 weeks ago, and it's just balls to the wall crazy, and just cheerleader going around killing zombies with a chainsaw. And the chainsaw eventually turns into a blaster and everything else. It's a really fun game and just silly all around. Then next up is Lost Planet. Lost Planet is a game that really disappointed me when it first came out. I really had high expectations when this game came out, and I just couldn't get into it. I don't like how your whole life depletes when you're not in a suit and everything, and it just is not one of my favorite series at all in 360. The next up we have Marvel Ultimate Alliance, which is a really good action RPG. It plays exactly like X-Men Legends if you ever play that game, and it just has every Marvel superhero you'd ever want. So you can just make your team of, I think it's up to 4 or 5 characters, and just go around beating up people. It's a fun time. Then you have Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2, which is pretty much more the same, but this one is even better in my opinion. It just looks better, plays better, and everything is better in this game. Then next up we have Madden 10. I like Madden, but GameStop won't let me trade this in, so that's why I still have it. Madden's pretty fun if you like football. Then next up we have EA Sports MMA. MMA is probably my favorite sport at the moment. I love watching UFC, love watching Bellator, love watching all that stuff. Love watching Strikeforce when it was around too, and this is just a great MMA game to compete with the UFC franchise. It's not as good, I don't believe, but it's a pretty deep game and has some pretty interesting elements. The next up we have the Mass Effect series. Mass Effect 1 was a good game that I just couldn't complete. It had fun elements to it, but I don't know what about it that I couldn't get into. Maybe one day I'll go back and play it. But Mass Effect 2 is my favorite game in the franchise, and this game just improves upon everything in the first game. This is much better to play, aiming is better, story is amazing in this game, and it's the best one in the series. Probably one of my favorite games on the 360. Now I do have Mass Effect 3. It's in my brother's room at the moment. That I haven't completed either, but I really gotta get around to doing that soon. And next up we have Rockstar's Max Payne series. I love the first 2 Max Paynes. This one I haven't played yet, sadly to say. But one day I'm gonna get around to it. This one looked really cool, and it's by Rockstar, so it should be a fun time. Next up is Metro 2033. It's a really fun first-person shooter. It has some interesting elements, like it's pretty much a stealth game in first-person form, and it just has a pretty cool post-apocalyptic feel, and it's just a pretty good first-person shooter if you guys haven't played it. I haven't played the new one, so I can't give any thoughts on that. Then we have Mortal Kombat the Complete Edition. This is one of my favorite fighting games on the 360. It just has everything you want in the game. Blood, guts, fatalities, and the story is actually very good in this game too. So I recommend this game if you guys haven't played it. Okay, then next up is a bunch of Naruto games. Naruto is probably one of my favorite anime series right now. I just love watching the fight scenes and everything in that show. The spoilers, I mean the filler episodes kind of piss me off, but that's what are you gonna do? First up we had Naruto Rise of the Ninja, which only went up to right after the Chunin exams, I believe. And this was a pretty fun game. It was different than all the other Naruto games at the time. It got the free roam and do everything, and it looked really pretty. next up was The Broken Bond, which is a continuation to Rise of the Ninja, and this one went up to right before he goes off and trains Jirachi before Shippuden starts. And this one was overall way better than Rise of the Ninja, and it's a fun game if you love the series. I suggest you go out and play it. Then next up we have Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm 2. The first one is only on PS3, which I have, but this is my favorite Naruto game. It just captured the feel of the anime, and it just is one of the best fighting games in the system. Even though it's simplistic, it's just really fun to play and watch your favorite characters come to life in it. Then we have Naruto Storm Generations. The story mode is pretty bad in this game. It's just pretty much a straight fighting game, just with tournaments and everything. It's a fun game, but not as good as Ultimate Ninja Storm 2, I don't think. And next up, we have a game I was really disappointed with, Ultimate Ninja Storm 3. This game, the story mode just is so much dialogue that it just dumbs down the game. But I mean, it's got the most characters that you can pick from in any other game. It's good if you avoid the story mode. That's all I gotta say. And next up was Elder Scrolls Oblivion, which I told you this is my first game I got even before the system came out. I really had high expectations for this game, and I didn't even get past the sewers in it. This game didn't hook me in at all, and it's just not a very good RPG in my standard, in my book. One day I do hope to get around to playing Skyfall, because I heard that did improve upon a lot of things. So maybe I'll check that out soon. Then next up we have Orange Box by Valve. This is a really good, you get a really good deal in this. It comes with the first Portal, which is an excellent puzzle game if you all haven't played it. Team Fortress 2, which is a really good multiplayer game if you can find people to play with. And then it has Half-Life 2, which is the best Half-Life game to release, and just a fun first-person shooter to go around and play. I suggest you all check this out if you haven't played it. Then we have Perfect Dark Zero. Perfect Dark Zero was one of the first games I also got on the 360, and it was a good first-person shooter to start off the system. Perfect Dark is a good series. Like the N64 games were okay, but I really did enjoy this game. And next up, we have another one of the Burger King games, Pocket Bike Racers. This is probably my favorite out of the three. Even though it's really cheap and low budget, it's just funny going around on these little bikes just racing each other. It's a pretty fun time to just pop in and play once in a while. Then next up we have 2K Games Prey. This was an interesting first-person shooter. I know they were supposed to make a second one, but I think that got canceled. This has to do with you get captured by an alien spaceship, and it's a first-person shooter and has some pretty interesting elements. I suggest you all check this out if you're interested in that kind of stuff. Then next up we have Prince of Persia. This was probably my favorite Prince of Persia game. I just loved the art style in this game. I liked how you couldn't really die too, because it kind of helped out. Because some of the earlier Prince of Persia games were really difficult, but this is a really good Prince of Persia game. If you haven't played any, I think this is also might be a prequel. I don't remember, but this is a good one to start on if you haven't played the series. Then you have Prince of Persia: Forgotten Sands. I think this is an underlooked game, because this is a really good Prince of Persia game. The graphics are more realistic, not like the last one, but it's just a really fun action game, just going through it, all the acrobatics and stuff. This game is just a fun time. Then next up we have Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Vegas. This game I really didn't play too much. This is one of the earlier games in the library too, when it came out. It's just, I'm not a big fan of Tom Clancy games except Splinter Cell, so. Then next up we have Rockstar Games. Best game, I believe, in my opinion. Red Dead Redemption is up there on my top games of the system. It just has a great story. I love doing the 5-finger fillet mini game and just riding around on horseback. This game I literally played the first 20 hours of the game. I just went around and roamed and wasn't even paying attention to the story. It's a fun time and can get really time consuming. And then we have the expansion of Red Dead Redemption, Undead Nightmare. I've never tried this out, but I've heard good things about it. One day I had to get around to playing it, but it just looks like a cool add-on. Then next up we have my favorite video game franchise, Resident Evil. Resident Evil 5 was an okay Resident Evil game. I did everything in this game except beat it on professional. But your AI partner was really crappy in this game. So I suggest if you're playing it, play with somebody because she's pretty bad. But this one, it was good. I like playing as Chris, and it had a good different story mode. Next up, we have Resident Evil 6. Resident Evil 6 is my least favorite game in the Resident Evil franchise. I've never played Operation Raccoon City, but I heard that's pretty bad too. But Resident Evil 6, I beat like I beat Leon's campaign in it, and I almost beat Jake's, but it just took everything that I love about Resident Evil out of it. And I hear rumors that they're going to make Resident Evil 7. I really hope they don't, unless they go back to roots. Resident Evil 4 was my favorite one in the series, and I hope they just go back to doing that. So this is a pretty big disappointment in my books. Then next up we got the Rock Band series. Rock Band was a great music rhythm game. I remember going by this the first day, and it's just fun playing as a whole band with your friends. It's overall way better than the Guitar Hero, so I would suggest this because it's got a crapload of downloadable content. I think it just stopped DLC a couple weeks ago. But I think you all should check this out if you like music rhythm games. Then next up was an expansion. I think it was a Walmart exclusive when it first came out. It was the AC/DC track pack for Rock Band. And if you love AC/DC, this is a really good track pack to get. It's pretty easy to find now. It's not really too limited, so it's fun if you like AC/DC. Then next up we have Lego Rock Band, which is a really fun game. It had more kid-friendly songs, but you can still export them into Rock Band and play them with your friends. It's just a really fun game. Then next up we have Rock Band 2, which just improved upon how great Rock Band 1 is. You can still you can even export all the songs from Rock Band 1 and Lego Rock Band and AC/DC into this game to give you a huge set list of songs. Just never ending. This is not a fun game. But if you really want a Rock Band game, just go out and get Rock Band 3 because you can export all the tracks. There's a whole bunch of DLC for it. And this one introduced the keyboard, which I really wasn't too fond of, but this is the best music rhythm game you can get on the Xbox, so I suggest if you're interested in that, you go out and pick this up. It's a great game.